We made a couple of examples with nesting and comprehension. There is nothing new in terms of syntax, just maybe more examples to be familiar with it. There is what we call flattening a list. Let's say that you have here the list of a bunch of lists here. Flattening means to create a new single list with all of the values, but without any of the inner values. For example, the list here is just a bunch of items to just without any of this internal list. I'm talking here about list inside a list, not something like list inside a list inside a list. Just let's keep it simple to be a list of lists. If we'd like to convert this list of lists to a single list without comprehension, we can iterate over every list, then over every item, then maybe appending it here. Or we can even get rid of that line of code and maybe extending. But how can we convert that to list of list comprehension lists? Take a minute and try to come up with the line of code for that. It should be like the following. We will take this for loop here, then this for loop here, and then we will just aggregate all of the items here. That's all. So as you see, we took this couple of lines, we put them here, we take the value back here, then all of them are appended together. Here is another example. Let's say that you have a list of lists and you have some value, let's say 10, and I would like to add the value 10 to every single number inside here. So let's create a function without comprehension to do that. I'm going to create a new list and I will iterate over the list of lists, create a new list also for the internal one, iterate on the internal list, and then appending the item value and then appending the big list. So it seems like I'm trying to do it here in terms of like couple of appendings. One appending on the list level and one appending on the list of list level. Couple of appendings. So let's convert to that. This might be a bit tricky. Give a trial by yourself also. So here is the idea. You are going to iterate over a list of lists. So we have one list here. And then the list itself, as a result, you will convert it to another list. So we will iterate here for every item in a list and then get the new list here, get the new item value here. This might be a bit new syntax here. Remember that this part here before the for loop, we call it a transformation. So the moral of the intuition is get a list, transform it here to another list. As you see, the syntax is very nice and very, very simple. It's like a nested list comprehension here. Generating pairs. Let's say that you have two lists here and you would like to brute force and generate all of the possible pairs. For example, you would like to generate 1 and 10, 1 and 20, 1 and 30, 2, 10, 10, 20, 2, 30, and so on, all of the pairs. We can do that by iterating nested loops. Then for every list, we take item 1 and item 2 and append it here. Now, how can we convert that to the with list comprehension? Give a trial. This should be straightforward. You are iterating in the list, inside it iterating in the list. So every nested thing can be appended here. So for loop, you have now item 1 and item 2. You put it here in a tuple, and then all of that will be appended. We are done with the list of comprehension, but would like to stress on something that's very interesting and like a fuzzy scenario. Let's say you would like to create a 3 times 4 grid, all of them with the value 0, for example. So one idea is, let's create a list of 0 times rows and all of that times the columns. How to understand this line of code? We have here 0 times rows. So now if the rows is 3, then we will have a list of 3 items. Then times the column, we will have a new list of four lists. Each one of them is this list. So if you printed it, it will be like 4 items, 4 lists. Each list is 3 zeros. Before continuing, I would like to think what is wrong about that. Try to guess it. Let's make a simple change to the generated list. Let's say list of 0 and 0 equal to. If you try to print the list, there is something very interesting will happen. Every list of them will be changed to the value 2. Why? Because the syntax here times asterisk columns will keep appending the same object over and over again. So they all will be the same list, just appended many times. all of them are referencing in the memory the same thing. The ID of list 0 is the same ID of list 1. So they aren't actually different lists. So this isn't how you can create a list of lists, because just duplicate of the same memory location. The proper way to do it is something like, for say for I over range of columns, you create 0 times rows here. Observe also that 0 is immutable, so it's okay here in this level there will be 3 zeros, but it's immutable anyway. But if it happened that this object itself is mutable, then again per row they will all be same values. In a similar way, if you would like to create, say, let's say a list like that, 0, 1, 2, 0, 1, 2, 0, 1, 2, the proper way is to loop over y's, then loop over x to comprehend all of them together. So be careful from the asterisk operator, because it's just duplicating the same memory. That's all, nothing more than that. That's all.